is speaking, and as she speaks, she's kind of pacing around this space, and she's got her arms kind of behind her back, and she's doing symbols as she paces, and she's like, the activation of Mayday and Beltane in synchronization of this scorpionic full moon in additional conjunction with the solar frequencies rolling in is a delayering and in fact a demystifying of the yin frequencies through the earthly space-time. Say it more clearly, please. Diametrical polarities. There is a very certain imbalance coming to be shown here within the yin and yang in the earthly realm as fifth dimensional new earth sprouts its first leaflets into your physical realm in the Gregorian calendar month of May of 2018. The yin imbalance is coming out to be exposed, which is certainly feeling like a chrysalis cracking into a vulnerable skin that's not quite ready to receive the light penetrating in. Many of the female entities that reside in a physical vessel upon your planet are experiencing this cataclysmic shift right now, and it is most uncomfortable within their biology. There is a need for unification throughout the feminine dynamics of your planet. The masculine are still dormant and will be activated soon, though even the most feminine of your masculine entities might be feeling a rumbling at this time. We would like to suggest a unification through a meditation of the feminine beings that reside upon your physical planet. There is a delayering and a dewebbing, and certainly a revolt against this delayering from the patriarchal shadow. There is a huge war being waged in astral space upon this week in your calendar year. Many of the shadow entities that try to indoctrinate the feminine essence are at revolt right now because they are losing their last stronghold upon the etheric realms within the feminine diametrical polarity. There is a huge uptake in feminine energetics this week, and thus there is an outpouring of energies from those feminine beings in their heart chambers. This activation cannot be held back, though the frozen miasms can jade and fracture the energy that is trying to pour through their physical body and their kundalini. Many are going into healing crisis at this time, and the purge is highly misunderstood because there is still not a cohesive telepathic dynamic within the human beings on your planet. If the women were more attuned into their reproductive organs and their sexual essence, they would be connected much like we instigated the acknowledgement of the tree community in the beginning of your healing. If you take a peek at the webbing and the communication network, there is never a break or a sever in understanding and relay. Yeah. Feminine beings need to get back to this. So we ask of you an etheric space to activate this knowing and these shifts and nuances and allow your body to understand. We're specifically speaking to your etheric aspect at this point in time, and so then they ask you to take a moment and kind of tune into your etheric aspect and make sure she's on par and listening. To be aware that as we are simultaneously purging, we are also fighting the war in etheric space. It is a very precarious situation because as the chrysalis delayers and exposes the vulnerable skin, so to speak, the attacks come forth to penetrate, though we mustn't replace blocks and shields in front of the vulnerable skin. It is dire that we keep our vulnerability at forefront because May represents the time of courage and planting. And then they take the word courage and then they're turning it backwards again. Ijar, Rook. And then they're changing the letters. They're putting it in like a vertical axis, and then they're turning it into a symbol. And then they're putting it into your third eye, and then they're expanding it down your chakra line. And then they're activating your perineum. And then it kind of circles behind your back like a round shell or something. It comes up your crown and expands through your nervous system. And then they activate your biology. They're like, the best thing for you to do is understand when the raging rapids in the waters are flowing and being tossed to and fro. The more you surrender to the water, you can bob back and forth and keep your head above the surface for most of the ride. There is a very specific need to play offense in this defense, and we will melt the masculine, shadow patriarchal lineage at this time by holding fast and strong to our feminine dynamics. There are a lot of energetics interplaying here that are highly specialized and much too confusing to explain to your current human brain capacity. Unbeknownst to you, there are many aspects fighting this war, and your human is feeling as if it is a cheesecloth being thrust about in the wind, gathering holes and rips and tears and not being able to hold much as a container. It is of the utmost importance at this time to focus on the water element and allow it to soothe, cleanse, clear, and purge. Not only is it going to be a clearing agent, but specifically focusing into the crystalline capacity of the water itself and tuning into its shape-shifting abilities of shifting your carbon into silicone diamond frequency. As you delayer these timelines that you have been tuning into, be aware that you're expanding your consciousness into multidimensional aspects and timelines, and so flow like the water in that as to not get caught up in the physical traps and webbings that are implanted within these dimensional realms that you are working to remove in the first place. The need for you to stay fluid is imperative because the parts of you that are not fluid are what are being highlighted at this time, and you're removing from the matrices that no longer serves you. If we could give you imagery, it would be like you are realizing that you have been living upon a spider web that is kept intact by only 5 little pieces of sticky tape. And in order to remove the sticky tape, you must coat your hands and your body in a lubrication so that you can pull this stick off and it will not stick to you. Yeah. This is strategic in etheric realm because right now this sticky tape is the belief systems that have been ingrained into your cellulose and your adipose tissue. So the need to flush with water on the physical realm is imperative, but also the need to understand that you are like water and the celestial, etheric, astral planes is very important. The major disadvantage of the patriarchal shadow is that they do not understand the water element because they are not of a balanced yin and yang. Yep. This is to your advantage. Use it to flow and bypass them without getting caught and trapped, especially in the ego upsets that inevitably will spring forth. The female dichotomy of the ego uprising has to do more in the feelings of disdain and disgust and repulsion towards the masculine. This is a trap. Please do not get caught in it at this time and find your way to purge the anger frequencies and allow them to dissolve into sadness first and foremost and then drain them out of your body.